When the right people come together at the right moment, when they care almost as much about winning as they do about each other, they can become the best of the best.
It's the best soccer show. Jason Davis, Jared Dubois, right smack dab in your eardrums on a Monday.
Are you going to be able to do that scream when you have a baby?
It's a good question. I will probably get yelled at when there's a baby in the house and I have to open the show. So
you'll get yelled at when there's a baby in the house for a number of reasons.
Do you want me to practice? Here we go. It's the best soccer show. Shh, everybody quiet.
I may have to take over the duties. I mean, there's plenty of yelling going on at my house. I got two boys, 10 and 7. So
I also have this other complication in the fact that my voice just sort of naturally carries. Now it's good for my job. It's good for this. It's good, it's good for yelling across the store to your older kid who's wandered off. But when it comes to a baby, just me talking in my normal voice, people are like, shh, why are you so loud? I don't know. I'm just talking. What the hell?
What's your word or 2 to 3 word phrase you yell out when your kid's in trouble? Like, what's the thing that gets their attention?
That's a good question.
My dad had a whistle, and I can't whistle.
I think you've talked about the whistle issue. I don't whistle. I think I just say hey.
I mean, I can whistle like I can't just do like a man whistle.
Do you have a timbre? Do you add a timbre to your voice?
Oh yes, I'm able to get some vibrato. It's a hey, like it's that kind of thing. It's definitely the word hey.
Yeah,
and it's to get their attention. Instantly, I see urine trickle down their leg.
Yeah, I have this thing where I call my kid a string of various nicknames. Like it rotates. It's like there's like 10 of them, and I'll bounce back and forth. There's not one. And so if I call him by his actual name, that's when he knows I'm in trouble. That's when he knows.
I done did it.
Yeah. If you get your name used, you're in trouble. If I call you by a nickname, it's not really that big of a deal, no matter what it is that I'm
Hey, buddy.
I don't say Freddie's got one. Freddie's bringing his cultural influence here. Oye, carajo. Yeah. Something like that.
In Southern California, I'm not sure there's the East Coast thing, but in Southern California, there's the chancla goes flying. That's the big thing. Because you guys aren't always in sandals on the East Coast. So is that an East Coast thing? Because like the weather's always warm. There's always a sandal available around here.
Again, in the Puerto Rican will bring the chancleta throwing history to the table. Whether he doesn't really walk around that much in chancletas, but hey, it's a thing, I guess. It's always the joke with Latino moms is that they throw the chancla.
I've seen it. I've been at my friend's house growing up. I've seen it.
We are here. This is good timing. Now, part of the reason we weren't here on Sunday night, that we're here on Monday, and if you're listening on the podcast, it don't matter to you. You just were like, hey, where's the podcast on Monday? I was doing MLS Cup playoff coverage on my radio show. Jared, do you have a radio show? I do. And in fact, I was working with Jillian Sakovic last night on the radio show. But it's a good thing that we weren't on last night because we wouldn't have a new U.S. men's national team roster to go over. And what's more exciting than a new U.S. men's national team? I don't even care if it's December and you're playing El Salvador or if it's, whatever. I don't care what kind of level we're talking about. It's exciting to see new names on the list.
Well, especially after the last camp where you saw the Euros, you saw all the big names that you've been wanting to see. Minus Pulisic, I mean, he was there but not there.
He was like a ghost. Yeah, he was kind of like hanging out in the background. Like
this is like is this the opening act? Is this like I would say like the 98 Degrees to the NSYNC? It's still boys, it's still boy bands, it's still youngsters out there, but it's just the second bill.
Are we? Man, where's 98 Degrees on the pecking order? I actually.
Or is it O-Town? Let's go with O-Town.
Yeah, this is O-Town. These are the guys that are in. This is like the band. Remember when Diddy did the band?
Oh, unfortunately.
Yeah, this is like that. This is like they're not really a thing yet, but we think they have some potential, right? That's what this group is, and obviously part of this is the timing, right? So if you're looking at this roster for the U.S. men's national team and you're thinking, "Hey, where's Jordan Morris?" And where's, I don't know, Jerry Obovasi?
Well, Jordan Morris is playing in the playoffs, so there's a reason why he's not there. But there are a couple names that I thought, why are they not there for sure?
Well, okay, so we'll talk about the ones that could be there and aren't, because those are interesting. But sorry, and I did say Jeremy Obobisi. Obviously, he's not in the playoffs anymore. Forgot about that. But there are a couple of players who would be here. He didn't even
start that last Portland game. Did we ever find out, was he injured or something?
I don't know. Held out into the final couple of minutes. Was a really weird situation for Giovanni Savarese. Just maybe got into his own head on that and decided to go in a different direction.
Really surprised by that. I mean, you got a couple DPs out and you don't go to Bobase. I don't know. But yeah, obviously a name that we'd like to see. But Jordan Morris, like you said, still in the playoffs. A few other players would probably be on this list too. They're in the playoffs right now.
There is a possibility. I saw Dougie McIntyre tweeting about this just a couple of minutes ago. It's a possibility that once if these teams get knocked out, these players could join the camp. I mean, we're talking about it's November. And you're just now trickling into December. You still have a little bit of time. You got games coming up Tuesday, Thursday in the playoffs. Teams could be out. Their players could be available. Walker Zimmerman, for example, right? Yeah. Is he going to be available to join this camp?
Sad for the guys, stoked for the national team that he's able to. I mean, I think that guy had the back end of the year plus the playoffs. Walker Zimmerman looked like a stud. And in that last game, I know he's getting like a lot of flack at how much he was in the offense, but the fact that he can, the fact that he can take the ball from the back line to the forward line and be a threat.
I do enjoy a wandering center back. It's one of my favorite things in the world to watch a center back make a long run and try to make something. Omar Gonzalez, he used to do it for the Galaxy back in the day.
It's like when Shaquille O'Neal used to run the break.
Whoa, what's happening here? Now, I think part of that was Columbus was, I don't know what Columbus was doing. Josh Williams, by the way, on the other side, did it a couple of times for Columbus in that game, it kind of flipping the script. And I think that was part of Nashville's just deep set and all of that. But anyway, Walker Zimmerman we can talk about. But let's go through the actual roster, okay? Because some people might not have heard it, and they might be listening to us live. And we do have phone lines open, 717-727-2378. If you hear a name, if you know a name, I know my Philly people are out there, and they're excited about a couple names on this list, despite missing out on a championship this year. I want to hear from you, and we'll go through this. And Jared, you know how this works.
Marco.
So we know these guys are in the pool, right?
Yeah,
we know they're there.
It's a matter of how deep are they in the pool?
What end are they in the shallow? Are they in the kiddie pool? Are they in that little kiddie pool that's next to the bigger pool?
Where there's a rope that doesn't let you go past a certain point.
No, I mean the actual
they got floaties on.
Separate kiddie pool. I'm talking about
that one. Yeah,
where like maybe
the wading pool.
The snake that shoots water out of its mouth, and like there's like a mushroom that like rains water. You know what I'm talking about, right? You put the little toddlers in there. I think that's maybe where we're talking about for some of these players. And you could give me a sense on where you think they fit. And some of these players,
I mean, there's going to be very few of these that are going to be like full national team names, but we can point them out as we go.
I know. Again, I think part of this is you stop me when you feel like
I think there's three things here. There's World Cup qualifying national team. There's Gold Cup consideration, and there's Olympic consideration. Those are your three pools.
Yeah, and you know, because of the timing and who's available, some of these players might be more Olympic focused. Some of them might be Gold Cup focused. I think very few of them are going to be first team qualifier type names, although that's possible.
Right, there's going to be a lot of young people, a lot of young dudes here. Greg Berhalter's got more young people on lock than Epstein's Island. You know, like he's got a lot.
Oh no. No, they're not that. No. Okay. Let's go through this. You tell me where you want to. Maybe if you hear a name and you're like, okay, I think that's an Olympic player. I think that's a Gold Cup player. You can tell me how you feel about them. Starting with goalkeepers, Bill Hamid, David Ochoa of RSL, and CJ Dos Santos, Jared, who is a mystery to me. Don't know anything about CJ.
Yeah, I think you and I both had to kind of do a little research on that ahead of time. Philly Academy product, as it seems like a lot of people are these days. And
I think I'm
Portugal dual national
product. Did you? Maybe I am. Maybe you
are. I thought you're homegrown out of Sacramento.
That's true. I am homegrown out of Sacramento, but you have to get the DNA test, like the 23andMe, to be sure about these things, right? Like maybe maybe I'm a Philadelphia Academy product ancestrally.
I didn't know that Philly came up on your people's DNA. You've tested positive for Wiz.
Actually, you know what's funny? I actually do have Philadelphia area. My grandfather was born in Chester, Pennsylvania, home of the Philadelphia Union.
Yeah, I don't know where that is.
And it's where the stadium is, dude. Okay. It's Subaru Park.
So you were born under a bridge?
I don't think the bridge existed when my grandfather was born there. Yeah. Anyway,
right, so CJ Dos Santos, though, dual national. We think for Portugal, we couldn't figure that out. We just thought he was dual national. But playing for Benfica in Portugal. I mean, obviously, this is an Olympic consideration, if that.
Yeah, I think it's a project player. I was going to say that maybe you have a little bit of this kind of thing cross up for not that you're a religious man, but a little cross up for any Dos Santoses. Although, look, Jonathan has been.
Dude, Jonathan just said, as long as the J and CJ stands for Jonah, I'm okay. But if his middle name is Giovanni, get him the hell out.
Yeah, got to stay away from those Dos Santoses, or at least one of them if you're a Galaxy fan. We'll get to some Galaxy.
One thing Berhalter likes to do is he likes to get these dual nationals in and start integrating them. Even though it's not cap tying them or anything like that, he seems to have a track record of wanting to get these guys in and get them exposed so they can make an informed decision. He does it early.
Well, I think what's interesting, if you were to talk about maybe a possible lineup for this team in this game against El Salvador, and it's El Salvador, right? They're not going to be world beaters. I honestly don't know which goalkeeper he might go with. He's got a 20-year-old and a 19-year-old in Ochoa, and
there's no doubt that Bill Hamid's the guy that should be starting if you had to win a game with this team.
Well, okay.
But he may want to give looks to some other guys here.
Okay, there's
Bill Hamid is firmly in Gold Cup for me.
Eddie, what have you done for me lately?
I know his name is Bill and not Eddie. It just feels like that's the Bill Hamid situation. Like, what has he done lately? He missed a bunch of games with DC United down the stretch of the seasons for reasons I'm not clear on. I don't know that ever got sorted out. You said if you were trying to win the game, you would play Bill Hamid. But if you're planning for next year, he's not your project guy, right?
Nah, maybe Bill Hamid gets considered for a third spot on the World Cup as there's some injuries, but otherwise, I think he's firmly in the Gold Cup. Maybe he's an overage Olympic keeper.
So you could see this as getting him ready for the Gold Cup. That's what you're telling me.
I think so, and potentially, like I said, an overage Olympic player potentially.
Okay, yeah, but if you're going to send a goalkeeper to the Olympics,
the U.S. classically is sent as one of their 3 overages as a keeper.
So let's do this too on these groups.
And let's not forget, Bill Hamid was this close to an Olympics years ago on an actual U23 team that coughed it up at the end.
Yeah, but that was
Sean Johnson was in goal instead of him.
That's
and
true.
I know Bill Hamid feels that he would have made that save if he was in that game.
I will. Let's in this group though. Who are the names that you might expect to see here who aren't here? I think Matt Turner's the first one.
Yeah, obviously, still in the playoffs. Can't come. That's about it. I don't feel like there's anyone that was like a lock to get in here. Outside of that, I'm fine with this. To be honest with you,
we're the ship has sailed on Tim Melia having an international career.
He's older, dude. I mean, definitely good keeper. I just don't know that you start over with a guy at that age and getting him into the national team. You're going to get a lot more longevity potentially. You got a guy playing for Benfica. Like that says something, not playing for him, but you got a guy at Benfica. If you're going to invest in someone at this point as the 6th depth keeper, I'm going to invest in a dude named CJ Dos Santos at Benfica than I am going to do Tim Melia.
No, okay, that's true. If you're picking one veteran to bring, I guess you're bringing not Tim Melia. Okay, what about Marcinkowski? Are you surprised he's not here, or is he squarely in a younger group and therefore don't bring it?
I don't know. I've never rated him that much. I mean, he's decent, but I don't know that he's national team quality. I'm okay with the direction that Berhalter is going right here. Outside of Turner, I mean, Fry obviously is not going to be playing for us. Which I think the other teams
are still playing right now. By the way,
that's always weird. I don't understand why that never happened.
It's a good question. There seems to have been a window that just didn't open up in time for.
I mean, there was a time where we weren't sure if which national team, because he was eligible for Switzerland.
Yeah, he was eligible for Switzerland. Yeah, maybe you just can't have 2 goalkeepers that go by initials, JT and CJ. Maybe you just can't do that. It's too many initials to throw into the pot.
I don't know. I mean, Joe Willis is available now. I don't think we're bringing Joe Willis in. I mean,
but he's not available.
Well, he was for Nashville. They're out.
Yeah, they're not out. They're going to playing against Columbus. What are you talking about?
What?
That game was last night.
Columbus won last night.
My brain.
Wow, the guy that's not on the radio did this. Hold on, Nick. Make a note in a journal somewhere that I was right on this one.
I did. I lost my thread on the playoffs. Right. They got so Walker Zimmerman not here, not kept away by the playoffs either. So just
So as I say, like Joe Willis. I mean, I'm thinking like keepers that are out right now, and that I don't know that any of them are better choices than these guys, to be honest with you.
Okay, fair enough. Let's go to the defenders as I turn bright red because of my mistake, because the playoffs are throwing.
I just assumed I was wrong, because usually I am.
You were right. Let's. I mean, I don't know. You can.
You shut your mouth when you're talking to me.
All right, defenders. I will leave the one that I want you to talk about the most here for last. Let's go. Kyle Duncan, New York Red Bulls. Marco Farfan, Portland Timbers. Aaron Long, New York Red Bulls. Mark McKenzie, Philadelphia Union. Mauricio Pineda, Chicago Fire. Sam Vines, Colorado Rapids. Walker Zimmerman, Nashville SC. Walker is a no doubter if he's available, and he is. So is Aaron Long. If you can call him up, you do. Mark McKenzie is also rounding into very good center back and is available. It's the other names that are kind of the fullbacks really are the questionable ones, right?
I mean, Kyle Duncan's starting at right back for New York Red Bulls.
Yes.
Sam
Vines the left back at Colorado.
Yeah, and I was a little bit surprised not to see Nick Lima here. Someone that Greg Berhalter's given a lot of chances to, or Daniel Levis is out now or in? I can't remember.
No, he's not there.
No, I mean in the playoffs. I can't remember.
No, he's a Nashville player. So
yeah, so he's available and chose not to bring him either. So it looks like he's ready to go a different direction at left back with the two guys compared to the two guys he's brought in over the last 2 years. But the hardest thing for me is normally when we get these friendly windows, you get a back-to-back game. You get 2 games to see players over. And the problem here is you have 1 game to try to see how Aaron Long plays with either Mark McKenzie or Walker Zimmerman. And you've seen Long and Zimmerman before. So do you go with Long and McKenzie here to see what this does, despite the fact that Walker Zimmerman is the defender of the year, looked like a stud down the stretch. And you know how I know John Brooks is the best defender we have, but I've never seen a better combination chemistry-wise at center back in this group than I have with Long and Zimmerman. I just feel they work well together. But is that a known factor? And so you got to kind of throw Mark McKenzie in there.
You have limited windows. I understand. Look, I want Mark McKenzie to play. I'd be absolutely fine if he starts. And maybe you want to give him a chance to claim one of those spots. So you put him next to Zimmerman if you think Zimmerman's the
so you feel Aaron Long is a known factor enough that you don't need to?
Aaron Long didn't have as good of a season as Walker Zimmerman did. So if you're talking about form,
or Mark McKenzie.
That's what I'm saying. So maybe McKenzie gets a shot next to Zimmerman, and you say, okay, we're looking at this both for Olympics and for Gold Cup, because McKenzie could be in either one of those teams next year. Aaron Long's an overage player. Zimmerman's an overage player. McKenzie has a couple of different opportunities. By the way, before I get to the other fullback who I didn't mention yet, Sam Vines is on the up, and people like him a lot with Colorado. He's a very good left back. Marco Farfan was a surprise to me. Yeah. I didn't think his stock was all that high. He played 856 minutes this season for the Timbers. That's not a lot when you're talking about a guy that, is
less than 10 games. I mean, if you did full 90s,
he's age eligible for the Olympics, which is the only reason I can think of bringing him, because he's a left back and you don't have a ton of those in MLS that are age eligible for the Olympics.
So again, like we said, Sam Vines, Marco Farfan, those are the 2 left backs that are being brought in instead of Nick Lima, John Lovitz.
Oh, right.
So, it's not to say that they're not eligible.
Did you?
Damn, dog.
Did you say John Lovitz?
Did I say John Lovitz? Did I really?
Yeah, you just said John Lovitz. What is?
What's his catchphrase?
What is the Saturday?
Yeah, that's the ticket.
That's the ticket. Yeah, get to know me,
Daniel Levitt. Excuse me. So,
get to know me. That's
so. I mean, does it mean he's going a whole different direction at left back, and those 2 guys' windows have closed, or he just doesn't see them participating in the Olympics? Well, look, maybe he knows who they are, and if he needs them for the Gold Cup, he can bring them in then.
I suppose he could bring 35 guys if he really wanted to, but that's
But is this the right thing? Let's stop for a second and just have a higher level conversation. Is this the right way to use this game? When you know you're going to have limited opportunities ahead of World Cup qualifying, which we know is the number 1 priority, do you use this game for this to try out Olympics and see who's going to be going to the Olympics?
Well, here's the question. Is there a fullback, a left back in Major League Soccer who is even sniffing the first team, the A squad right now? Is there? No, there's not. So you have project players in Vines. I would throw Farfan in there, I guess, and you have overage players like Lima and Lovitz.
But I do think Nick Lima is a hell of a left back.
Sure, but
MLS level.
You know what Nick Lima can do. You know if you need him for the Gold Cup, he's going to be there, right? Why not give the opportunity to some younger players, because you do have that Olympic team to fill up and to staff for that for the Olympics next year. I mean, obviously you got to qualify too, so there's also that process of figuring out who's going to be available to qualify for the Olympics. Because while Anthony Robinson is age eligible, he's not getting a release for the tournament, right? So you better have some depth there, and you can get Sam Vines and Marco Farfan in because they're available. And again, if you think about the teams that are left, Columbus, the Milton Valenzuela is their left back, obviously not American. I don't know if they have an American on the bench, but he's certainly not noteworthy enough to be in this group. Obviously, the Revs aren't playing. I'm trying to think of who they're.
The crazy thing about Marco Farfan, Villafania is their starting left back.
That's what I'm saying. Farfan hasn't played a lot this year.
It's an interesting call out. That's why I want to ask the question. Like, is this the way Greg Berhalter should be using this camp? Is he that set on his 23 on his 23 at the World Cup qualifying level that he doesn't have to bring those type of guys in? Is this the right thing to use? Way to use this camp?
You have 2 guys playing in Europe who can play left back. You have multiple right back options. Throw in DeAndre Yedlin. He's not playing right now. I don't know if he's really one, but you have multiple right back options. You have Brian Reynolds is coming up. I mean, that's actually a name that we can throw in here as somebody who's not.
Chris Richards continues to get right back time at Bayern Munich.
Yes, well, that too. He's an option there. He's versatile. I mean, I think that's something to talk about. You have Mauricio Pineda, who can do a couple of different things. Coming out of the fire, a young player. He's 23, but he's a first-year player because he went to college, went to North Carolina. So
weird.
Weird that he went to college.
It's just odd now, isn't it? Weird that you see a guy that's on national team level that is 23 and a rookie, or 22 and a rookie.
He's a homegrown player, but he's one of those homegrown players who went to college for the full term and then came out, and I guess made him a better player because people seem to like him.
We forget, like, Clint Dempsey wasted 4 years in college. Isn't that crazy to look back at it?
I mean, I think he would have not done that if he had an opportunity.
But think of it, he is tied for the all-time goal lead at the national team.
He'd have it. If he had, well, so here's the thing. You don't know. It's the counterfactual, right? Would Clint Dempsey have been the player he was if he hadn't gone to Furman for 4 years?
And if he hadn't been taken, let's say he did come out 3 years early, and didn't end up at New England with that team that had Twellman, Noonan, Dorman, Shalry Joseph, Lowenteritz, all those guys. Yeah. Would he have been the same player? It's a tough hypothetical.
Okay, so Mauricio Pineda is an interesting name. Again, 23, but age eligible for the Olympics. So again, I think that's the thing you have to point to. And Julian Araujo. So you're the Galaxy guy on the show. Tell me what you make of Julian Araujo. I mean, he certainly got a lot of buzz last year, but I don't know if it carried over this year. If it was
this year, I thought he was way better than he was last year. The biggest question about Julian Araujo is he a right back? Is he a right midfielder? He got used a lot at both positions for the Galaxy.
That's the biggest question about Julian Araujo, not whether he's going to play.
His attitude. I mean, he's fiery. Let's say it that way.
Whether he's going to play for Mexico or the United States. I mean, I know he's not Efrain Alvarez, who definitely has shown up for Mexico.
I think he is more likely to go USA than Efrain Alvarez is at this point. But to be honest, between the two, I'd much rather have Julian Araujo. Efrain Alvarez was poor this season. As a guy that watched every Galaxy game this season, let me tell you, he was poor.
Is Julian Araujo a good enough defender right now to make you comfortable?
He's good enough defender to be Gold Cup status.
Okay,
right back.
I
mean, because honestly, the two best options, Cannon and Dest, are going to be at the World Cup qualifying.
That's true.
Julian Araujo is good enough that he may not go to the Olympics and go Gold Cup instead.
Interesting. Okay, let's move on. Midfielders: Brendan Aronson, Philadelphia Union; Kellen Acosta, Colorado Rapids; Frankie Amaya, FC Cincinnati; Cole Bassett, Colorado Rapids. 2 Rapids players. What world are we living in? And Du Bois, Sebastian Lletget from the LA Galaxy. I mean, again, you could go trawling across the available players that are not in the playoffs anymore, and maybe come up with a player here or there who could get a look here. But I got no beef with this. I mean,
it seems thin, but that's probably because you have guys like Julian Araujo can go to midfield if they need to. You have forwards here that could drop back. Chris Mueller could drop back if he needed to. Paul Arriola obviously can as well if he needed to. It depends if you're playing it. And here's the question. I don't know this is a 4-3-3 lineup with these players. You think Berhalter's going to probably force it, but wouldn't you?
Well, I will say this. Acosta kind of was more of a box-to-box guy. And Amaya, who has been forced to play a defensive midfield position in Cincinnati. Yeah. But there's not a natural D mid in that group, is there?
No, there's not. I mean, Kellen Acosta can. He can. We've seen him do it in the past. I think he's better as box to Fox. But in this, I don't think he's going to have a choice.
No.
I really don't think he's going to have a choice here. Sebastian Lletget can play that.
Here's the thing. You may not think you have a problem against El Salvador in that particular area of the field. Like, you may think we're going to have the ball. It's really about maintaining our abilities forward and not committing mistakes, more than it is like having an out-and-out defensive midfielder, because what is El Salvador going to do with the ball?
Yeah, I said legit the 6. I meant legit can play an 8 if he needs to. But then Brendan Aronson playing.
But this is Greg Berhalter, and he played him at forward, so maybe he'll play 6. Maybe he'll play.
I mean, one thing you can say out of all these players, Sebastian List, but Jet's probably the only lock starter that's in this group right now because he seems to be. Berhalter seems to love him everywhere
he's going to be on the field. He can do a bunch of things well.
And once again, if you got a bunch of youth, like we just said with the European lineup, you bring in a guy that knows the system. You know, you bring in the older guy, 27, I think now, that can teach the system to some of these other guys. I was most surprised with Carolina Costa out of this group, to be honest with you.
Well, look, the Rapids were good down the stretch. They got
for all the same reasons. I was surprised not to see Nick Lima. Like you don't bring Nick Lima, you don't bring Daniel Lovitz, but you bring Carolina Costa.
Yeah, maybe. Again, there's maybe a question of mixing in a couple of more veteran players in order to have some structure there.
Well, it's interesting though. No, like Will Trapp. No, like he chose not to bring a true defensive midfielder. Is Will Trapp's time done? He's done.
I think so. I don't know.
Even like Olympics and Gold Cup, like done. I mean, obviously he's over 23, but
yeah, I can't. I don't think he's at that level anymore.
No Michael Bradley.
No. Well, so that's the other thing here. No Michael Bradley. No Josie Altidore. I guess that is about this being the kiddie pool team. Like this is about youth, and you don't have enough room in the roster to bring Altidore, Bradley, and some of these guys. Now you could say Bradley over Acosta, but Acosta's 25. Bradley's what, 30 now, 31. Like at this point, Michael Bradley's period as an influential player is probably over. He can
This is a good shout by Eshwar right here. No Jackson Yule. That is definitely a surprise. That is that I hadn't thought of it till you just said it, but that's the 6. That's one of the best young 6s in the league. The only thing I can think of is maybe he's having some kind of procedure in the offseason or something. I don't know. Is he getting married? No, I don't know what he's got going on right now, but that is a pretty big absence right here. The other one I was kind of surprised not to see here, and not because he's a lock or anything like that. He's only had a few games, but a little surprised not to see Caden Clark.
Well, he's 17 and he's played 8 games in his career.
But at the same time, you bring Cole Bassett, you bring Efrain Alvarez. Efrain Alvarez's season was much poorer than Caden Clark's.
Yeah, well,
and we talked about he's bringing youth. He brought a 17 and started multiple 17-year-olds in Europe.
I know, but what's the thing? Like, what's the difference between Caden Clark, a Jackson Yule, and Efrain Alvarez, or any of these players that could be there? What's the difference?
One of those guys we got to kiss and make him feel like he's American.
We have to make Efrain Alvarez feel wanted, and I don't.
But do we though? I mean, listen, I loved me some Efrain Alvarez 2 years ago, and here's the thing:
Efrain Alvarez already. Like, what is this?
Let me give you the breakdown on it as a guy who watches Efrain Alvarez every day or every week. Instinctually, one of the best, highest level players I have seen brought in through as a youth product through any MLS system.
Okay.
His problem is when he thinks. If he has time on the ball, he makes poor decisions.
Okay.
But if you ask him to act in a moment, in a second, on a turn, he makes really cool decisions.
He's got this. He's got that. He's got the sizzle, right? Like we don't have it. I mean, we need. I know the senior group, the first team group, the one that we saw in Europe for the most part. They got tons of sizzle. I just think that Efrain Alvarez kind of fits into that vibe, right? Like he's got the wicked free kick, and he's got. And by the way, we need somebody to serve up some dead balls because we don't right now.
That's going to be legit. He's already taking corner kicks.
I don't mean necessarily for this group. I mean in general right now.
I think Claudio Reyna, he's taking the corner kicks and some of the set piece stuff at BVB.
All over the place with your names today. That's not
Did I say Claudio?
You did.
What am I doing? Yeah. What are we doing?
All right, here's a question. Is Efrain Alvarez the new Memo Gonzalez? Talented but lacks work ethic. That's for old school Galaxy fan Jared Dubois.
I would say not yet. I think that what I saw from Efrain Alvarez at his highest level was better than I ever saw with Memo Gonzalez at his highest level.
Okay.
I don't think it's a work rate issue with Efrain Alvarez. I really don't. I don't think he's lazy. I just think he can't get out of his own head. And I think I think he panics when he has time to think.
Well, okay. By the way, maybe this camp is an attempt to push him to be better in those moments. He's 18, right? He's 18 years old, and he has played. Has he played, Jared? Remind me here. Maybe I'm missing something, but has he played in an organization that has been stable, functional, successful at any point in his young career? Has he been in an organization in LA that's
really Los Dos
for like a year, right? When you look,
listen, he's the only player in this whole list that Zlatan said is the only player that can that thinks and plays at his level in the entire league. I mean, Zlatan had a lot of respect for this kid, because he is instinctually naturally good. It's just his decision making I think he has too much going on in his head.
Maybe it's coming. Maybe that starts to click in here. All right. So I did want to bring in, and we're going to inaugurate his new drop. Let's bring in Nicky Soup and Sausage.
I wouldn't be caught dead.
Oh, that's not the one.
The Sausage King of Chicago.
Oh, Toledo. It's not Chicago. It's Toledo. The Sausage King of Toledo, Nicky Soup and Sausage, because there's a FC Cincinnati player on the national team. Nick, Frankie Amaya. Tell us about Frankie Amaya.
Yeah, definitely one of the bright spots for FC Cincinnati, a fan favorite in the short time frame of Major League Soccer in Cincinnati. The number one overall draft pick in 2019
out of
UCLA. Yep,
that makes me like him.
Played with the U20 youth system as well, so he's got some familiarity with some of the younger guys in the U.S. roster, so that helps as well. But the dude's a pit bull, right? He's a ball winner and just plays with relentless energy, nonstop.
So Nick, as a guy, a kid that got played all over the place, and you admitted that, and we were kind of talking about this ahead of time. Where do you think his best position is?
He said, "Why didn't he score more goals?" That's what Nick said.
But
I know that his job was not.
What do you think his best position is?
Yeah, what's his best position?
I think his best position is probably the 6.
Okay.
That's where I'm.
You seem like because you talk about being pitbull, you feel like he's kind of Wes McKinney-ish. He can go forward if he needs to, but he can win balls in the midfield.
Exactly, and he can get from side to side pretty quickly.
As Weston McKennie, obviously, but
not nearly what?
As athletic as Weston McKennie.
Well, who is? He's playing Juventus for God's sake.
But I think Frankie Amaya's strength is technical ability, and he's got a level head. Like, he's not going to lose himself out there. And this is not a great example. I should talk about something more recent, but go back to MLS's back when Cincinnati knocked off Atlanta and New York before we knew they were bad, before we knew they were going to fire their coaches. And Frankie, not only did he have a golazo, was it against Atlanta that he had the golazo?
It was, yeah.
Yeah, but not only that, he was just that presence in the midfield. And obviously, look, Cincinnati's setup, when Jaap Stam came in, kind of played to what a defensive midfielder needs to do. It's going to have a lot of work, but he's also going to have a lot of support. How he works in this system, I don't know. But like I said, we don't have any other natural 6s in this group except for Frank. And he's not even a natural 6 because he was a creative player at UCLA. So I don't know.
So he's probably an 8.
He had, and I would say right now he plays the 8 primarily with FC Cincinnati. I think the fact that he spent the year in a locker next to Harris Medunjanin really learned the ropes from him, and I think it showed this year. His ability on the ball, and not only that, but like I said, look, FC Cincinnati was losing the ball all the time, and he was one of the few guys who would go and get it back. So.
Okay. All right. So Frankie Amaya in the group.
By the way, not the first FC Cincinnati player to be called up to a U.S. men's national team.
Can we do this, Jared? Can we figure out who the other one was?
Oh, wait. Didn't you have the left back for a while? What was it? It was
Greg Garza.
Greg Garza. That's right.
Good job, Jared.
I know things.
You do know things. You knew that the Nashville got knocked out of the playoffs last night.
I know who John Lovitz is.
Even though I was on the radio talking about that game. You know who John Lovitz is.
Critic.
So real quick, before we move on to forwards, do you want to have the conversation if you're going to play 3 of these midfielders, who they're going to be?
Yeah, okay, we could do that. All right, so we're trying to make this work functionally. Like, we're trying to provide a platform. And all right, well, in that case, if I'm just going on what the roles are, I'm playing Frankie Amaya, Brendan Aronson, and Sebastian Lletget.
Yeah, I think that's my same 3. I think you from back to front. You know what? Maybe that's not back to front for me. Frankie Amaya at the 6, Lletget at an 8, Brendan Aronson in a hybrid 10 kind of situation.
At a hybrid 10, pushing up high, but also able to track back a little bit. I think that's what I would want to see. I expect Kellen Acosta may be the option instead of Amaya, just because Amaya's
definitely possible. Definitely possible.
And I think Cole Bassett maybe gets a look later in the game, but he seems like the odd man out just in terms of what we can expect to see him do in this particular match. All right, so forwards, moving up to the top of the formation, and this is the thing that Berhalter does. He dumps like 8 guys into the forward section of the roster, and we know that not all of them are actually forwards, and you don't quite know. So he's got Ayo Akinola. This is another He's not a dual national. He's a tri-national, Jared.
Yeah.
He's like a.
It's a good get to get him even to come to camp.
Yeah. So, well, you know, whether or not he might play for Canada or whatever. I mean, I you know, if you have the opportunity and he's willing.
Listen, kid. If you want a World Cup, you know where to go.
He's also.
You want to make a World Cup.
He's also been in the youth teams for the U.S. So it's
here's
not
the other thing. Let me just tell you for a second.
I want to say that.
You can go to if you want to go to Canada, that's cool. We'll see you in 2026. You know you'll get a World Cup then.
They might qualify this time. They might.
But where's his odds better?
His odds are better with the U.S.
Where's his odds better of getting like starting minutes?
Yeah.
Because he's going to go against, what's the guy in Vancouver? I want to say Cavani. That's not it, though. I'm
just going to let you hang. Lucas Cavallini.
Cavallini. So, I mean, he's going to have to – he actually has a person that he would have to kind of get out of the position in Canada.
Sure. I expect that in big qualifiers, Cavallini's going to start over everybody else. That's probably –
whereas in the U.S., I mean, it's whoever can make a name for themselves.
Well, at this point, yes. I think that it is much more of an open audition for the center forward position.
Especially with Josh Sargent missing his chance to shine or to audition for the role over 2 games in Europe.
Yeah. Okay. So, Ayo Akinola, Efrain Alvarez, we already talked about and is in the forward group, even though probably not going to start as a – I mean, I guess he's not really a midfielder in a 4-3-3, and that's why you throw him up there, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's got in a 4-4-2. He knows exactly where he's going to be. He's going to have chalk on his boots, and he's going to be bombing down the wings. He gives you work rate. I think this is more. I don't know that Paul Arriola starts here. I think this is bring him into camp, see where he's at health wise, how's his knee, and see what if he can contribute. I don't expect him to start.
By the way, Steve Hildago in the comments mentioning that not only does Canada have Cavallini, who might be their center forward option, you also have Jonathan David, who is very, very good. And although his time at Lille hasn't gone to plan yet, certainly he's ahead of everybody else that's not Lucas Cavallini. All right. So Efrain Alvarez, Paul Arriola back in the team after coming back from his. I think he got 5 minutes in the last game of the season for DC United. Like it's.
Yeah, I like I said, this is a health check. This is a health check for Paul Arriola. It's kind of like Christian Pulisic. Bring him in. Hey, you did a lot of work for us a few years ago. You could have a place here down the road. Let's see how you're doing.
Maybe the injury might play a role into this, but as you said, see how you're doing. But we're pretty sure that Paul Arriola is now down. He's been moved down to the Gold Cup level rather than up top at the
currently. Yeah, I think the starting 23-man roster for World Cup qualifiers for the U.S. has a room for one of either Leggett or Arriola. And right now, I think it's Leggett and it's not Arriola.
Well, Leggett, they do different things. Obviously, it's a matter of what.
But you got Jordan Morris in there. You got Reyna in there. You got all the Pulisic in there. You got all these McKennie and Adams. You got all these pieces in there. I think only one of them makes it.
I think Yunus Musa, who's only 18, just turned 18.
Yeah.
Happy birthday to Yunus Musa. We should all send our best wishes to Yunus.
Oh, can we send him a get care basket or something?
Yeah, how do we do that? Like an edible? Like what do they call it? Not the edibles.
Edibles. You wanted to have gummies?
No. What's the
playing in Holland?
Is that legal in Spain? I don't know how that works. No, the
edible arrangement.
Edible arrangement. That's what it is.
Oh,
edible.
I thought you meant like undergarments.
Well, are you buying those?
So you're a fan of fruit roll-ups?
Actually, that's more like
I wouldn't be caught dead in a sweater vest.
Popping on those edible undies. No, we should send a gift basket to Yunus Musa. All right, so Paul Arriola, Daryl DK. This is big DK energy, right?
He didn't get it done for Orlando, but god dang does he move some bodies. DK moves some bodies.
That sounds vaguely problematic. What do you
you got a buddy, you got someone in your trunk, you need someone to move a body? Call Daryl DK.
Yeah, I think
just listen, like the dude moves his hips and a guy goes flying.
He is strong. I was going to say that Nicky Soup and Sausage sounds like a guy who knows a guy who can move some bodies. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, and he calls Daryl DK to do it with him.
Yeah, and so does Okay, so Daryl DK, a talented player, obviously is not going to be ready to be a qualifier.
I think Akinola is more ready to score if you insert him into a team.
Interesting.
I do. I think
DK's game is more well-rounded than Akinola's at this point.
But I think DK is not going to score as a forward. He's going to get guys like Christian Pulisic and like Gio Reyna into positions where they can score. But he's going to absorb pressure. He's going to hold the ball and he's going to distribute. Don't get me wrong. He can turn and face too.
Oh, but
Akinola can get behind the back four, I think, easier than DK can.
Here's the thing that we always had with Josie. Josie is an incredible passer at the forward position, underrated passer at the forward position. Obviously good with his back to goal, strong, big body dude, holds the ball up, brings midfield into play, but he does not have that turn and go. He's not going to beat you. He can maybe slip in if you're not paying attention, get off the back shoulder, but he's not going to beat you on pure speed, right? And you don't want Josie out there running a fast break counterattack situation, right? You want one of your midfielders on the ball in that situation. Yeah. I'm okay with Daryl DK taking the ball upfield and trying to run.
I am too, but who's going to score? Is he going to score in this lineup? In this lineup, is he the guy that's going to score? Or is he going to who's he going to be setting up to score?
Well, I think Aronson is coming. Well, you're obviously looking at your wide players, right? So in that case,
when I look at this lineup right here,
yeah,
Akinola's the guy that I want.
Okay.
Because I think he's more likely to do something to beat a player and make something for himself. Whereas DK is going to provide for other guys that I don't see who's going to finish here.
Okay. Interesting. So after Daryl DK, also listed as a forward, which might mean that he will play wide, even though I think of him as more of a midfielder, is Georgi Maholovich, who maybe didn't have as good a year this year as he did last year, but certainly a talented player.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, we played for the Chicago Fire. You're already got 1 foot like in a hole.
Unfortunately, he plays for the. Oh, by the way, Jim Belushi, and I think unfortunately for Jim Belushi, even when he is moderately funny, he never compares to John, and therefore everybody hates on Jim Belushi.
Yes,
but he's still a Belushi, right? And he's still a successful. He was on Twitter just randomly saying, "Hey, Chicago people, are the Fire good?" And I was like, "Uh-oh."
I think most of the responses were not from Chicago people.
Probably not. I think somebody said, "Oh, we're getting better. And go team."
Listen, the only thing that I see getting better is that logo.
Yeah, hopefully that happens.
All right, but for Maholovich, I let's get a bid. I would love to see what he can do. Did he get one other camp with the U.S. at some point?
He's been in some camps. Yeah, he's been.
I thought so. I would love to see what he could do out on either wing of a 4-3-3. I think he's also a good complement to a big body like Akinola or DK if you play a 4-4-2, which I don't think is going to happen.
No.
But listen, I'm down for to get a shot. He's a different look than Akinola than DK. I just don't know that he's a poacher than what we need in a poacher up top.
Okay, and the last name on the list is Chris Mueller of Orlando
White
City.
Chocolate.
Yeah, Cash Money Mueller coming in and deserves it. I mean, deserves a look, was getting some buzz as maybe even an MVP candidate at a certain point.
Kind of looks like the professor.
Do you think he does? Like, really? You just want me to...
I just want to have a drop on the board that goes, Professor!
I think he looks more like generic 80s high school movie villain.
It looks like he might have been a member of All for One.
Is that the boy band All for One? The one that did
boy-ish. They were kind of manny.
Were they really? I don't remember them. They did come up on a podcast I was listening to the other day because I guess that was a country song.
Listen, I love the addition of Chris Mueller, though. I mean, Chris Mueller is going to play the role Paul Arriola wishes he could do right now.
Don't you need a guy, though, who walks into camp with his hair super short, smacking some gum, talking trash, like, who's the toughest guy in the room? I'm going to take you out. Like, don't you want – that feels like –
it's Chris Mueller?
I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe it's not. I'm saying he looks like that guy, even if he is.
Listen, I'll say this. I think he kind of disappeared in that Orlando playoff game, their last game. I didn't see much out of him in that game, which is unfortunate because I really like the kid. I think he's a good player, and I think he has a role to potentially play in the Gold Cup.
Okay. No, it's probably true. All right, so that's the whole roster at this point. We talked about our midfield. We did not go through a back line that you might imagine will start against El Salvador, and we didn't talk about the front line.
Yeah. I think my back line is Junior Rajo at right back with I think it's going to be Aaron Long and Walker Zimmerman.
Okay. I think McKenzie gets to start. That's me, but it could be a flip of the coin either way.
It just depends what I don't know. It's hard not to put the defender of the year in there and give him a shot. It really is. But Aaron Long's his
that's why I think it's McKenzie and Zimmerman and not Long and Zimmerman. Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Long and Zimmerman, and then a left back. I think it's gonna be Sam Vines.
Wait, so hold on. Is this this is what I would do, or what you think Greg?
I think in this case it's both.
Okay, all right, fine. Go. So Sam Vines at left back. Go ahead.
Midfield for me is gonna be. We said already it's gonna be Amaya, then Leggett and Aronson.
Okay.
Up top for me,
I'm dinging because I'm matching you. I obviously already picked the same midfield. Go ahead.
Up top for me, and this is going to be a little bit weird.
Oh.
I put Ayo Akinola out on the left, Daryl DK in the middle,
I'm not
and
dinging.
Chris Mueller on the right.
Okay.
Because I just don't know what's the other option. Are you going to play Maholovich at left?
That's possible. I think so. That's possible.
Don't you want to see what Akinola and DK could do? I just don't think there's enough scoring threats on the field if you don't have them both on the field.
I just don't think I don't think Akinola's going to be comfortable out there. He's going to be wasted.
He played Leggett at center forward.
No, I understand that, but I still think with this player, a younger player. I mean, Sebastian Leget's a very experienced player at 27. This is a kid. You're going to throw him in.
I'll give you one other option. I'll pull Akinola off, and you put Brendan Aronson in that position, and then you're bringing in Kellen Acosta into the midfield.
I want as much of the game in front of Brendan Aronson as possible, and I don't think that happens if you're playing him on the wing.
Give me your front three then.
Okay, so I mean, again, it's imperfect. I will say. Paul Arriola can play either side. I think he's going to get a shot from the start just because of his experience. So I think it's probably going to be, and I'm going to say DK instead of Akinola.
Arriola's going to start when he only is worthy of 5 minutes in DC's final. You think he's game 90 minute or even like 60-minute healthy?
Well, okay. Again, this is all predicated on the idea that maybe Berhalter makes a bunch of changes at halftime, but he never does that. He always waits to 65 or 70. So that does
I think Arriola's just not going to be a starter. I think you'll see minutes, man.
In that case, I'm going to go with the Maholovich on the left idea. Okay. And I'm going to say DK in the middle, Maholovich on the left, and Mueller on the right. That's what I'm in.
Okay. So we have one difference there. So,
yeah.
Otherwise, we match at one position of center back, one position up front.
This is all, this is like you're at home and you've got 4 or 5 different liquors. They don't really go together. You can't make a real cocktail. And
so you go on the internet and put all the ingredients and say, what drink can I make with this?
Well, you do that, or you come up with something on your own and you're like taste testing.
That's how I made the Roti Rita.
What is the Roti Rita again?
Oh, that, sir, is that's going to be some muddled cucumber.
Okay. Ew.
Slice. Get out of here with it. Ew. Hey, it's going to be a slice of jalapeno.
Okay. All right.
Some ice. And then you're going to put what I like to use is Newman's Own Version lemonade. You put about maybe one part of that, and then you put 2 parts sweet and sour. Okay. And then you put a little bit of maybe 1 part of Grand Marnier or triple sec, whichever one you have.
Okay.
Shake that up, serve it over ice. That's good to go.
Oh, it's the Roti Rita. It's not the Roti Rita season. It is definitely not.
It is not. It's not I've been far more the old fashions and Negronis lately.
Okay. I can see an old fashioned. I'm not a cocktail guy anymore. I'm just like, give me my liquor and a couple pieces of ice and I'll be good. That's where I'm at.
I don't know. You had a pretty elaborate drink on Thanksgiving that I saw on your Instagram.
What?
Looked like you did.
Oh, that was coquito. That's not. I don't make that. That's
what is that?
Me. Coquito is. I think we talked about this before. Coquito is like Puerto Rican eggnog. So it's
gross.
You're not gonna like it because it's crazy.
It's like eggnog with plantains.
I think that's illegal. What you just said. I think that's a hate crime. I think you just
as a garnish.
I don't think you're allowed to say stuff like that.
My bad.
No, it's So this is the recipe I know from the way my wife makes it. You can do it with flavors. I have friends that made it a Nutella version of coquito. So a can of evaporated milk, a can of condensed milk, a can of cream of cocoa, coconut cream, not coconut. What's the other one? Milk, not coconut milk. Cream. It's got to be cream. And then I believe it's just the rum after that.
You need to say creamless.
And then, no, cream is great. Everybody loves cream.
Before we close up the national team, there's a good question here from Morgan. And she says, if Dallas gets knocked out, do you think some of their players will be called in?
So
instantly, I went to 2 names in my head.
Ryan Reynolds.
That's okay. That wasn't actually one of the, now I think it's just 3. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Brian Reynolds.
Just so you know, Brian Reynolds is apparently getting some heat as a possible Juventus target at 6 or 7 million, which is like, whoa. Okay.
That was cool. I was thinking Jesus Ferreira.
Okay.
And I still like Ryan Hollingshead.
Yeah, I think that I don't think at this point in his career that's likely to happen. But he deserves.
Because he's 29. Because he's 29.
Yeah.
There's no chance now.
Yeah, I mean, you could argue for a Gold Cup spot, but I think because of the focus of the team is on youth at this point, and because they want to get the Olympic team sorted, they don't have a bunch of camps for that. Then yeah, Ricardo Pepi, by the way, not quite there yet, and Tanner Tessman is an interesting name, but I don't
Ricardo Pepi is a great name though.
Yeah, you just mean as a name, not necessarily.
Oh yeah.
I want to go back to something Steve tweeted earlier. This is we don't get a lot of listeners suggested pick your poisons. Let me bring my board up because that was a misfire. Steve says, would you rather have, or who has the higher ceiling between non-cap cap-tied players, Yunus Musa or Efrain Alvarez? Or he says, or Yunus, whichever player you think is most interesting. If you do it, Yunus versus Alvarez, I don't think there's any argument there.
No, you could put any player on this 23-man roster or Yunus Musa, and I'm picking Yunus Musa.
Really?
Yeah. Which one would? Because here's the thing: if you tell me Yunus or DK, I got Akinola in the back pocket. If you tell me Yunus or McKenzie, I got Walker Zimmerman in the back pocket.
Okay.
Like Yunus Musa, like, do we have another player that does that? Brendan Aronson?
Well, not that potential at that age. And by the way, if we're talking about just the dual nationals, and I know we got other stuff to get here, but if we're just talking about the dual nationals in this group,
if you maybe take a choice between Yunus Musa and Gio Reyna, two dual nationals, then I'd have a conversation. That gets harder.
Gio's already committed. That's not an issue. I don't think we're worried about that. But for the players that are still in play for other countries, okay, that meaning they haven't committed, they are possibly going to play for the U.S., but they still have open options. And I'm not forget Yunus Musa. I'm just talking about this roster.
Okay.
Right? We'll focus on this group. So Cito dos Santos is somebody we don't know anything about. He's at Benfica. Maybe he becomes a great goalkeeper.
Yeah, that's an option.
Hard to know. Julian Araujo.
Yep.
Who has been mostly focused on the U.S., but certainly does have an open option. Let's see. The other one is Efrain Alvarez.
Efrain Alvarez.
Ayo Akinola.
Yep.
Daryl DK. Yep. All of them are dual nationals who could play for somebody else. Which one?
Does Maholovich have options?
No, he's already. I think he maybe even got a cap in a. I don't know.
Maybe meaningful game.
He's not going to change for anybody though. He's pretty much locked in. Which one are you most? Do you want most to pick the U.S. out of all? You only could have one of them. It's like The Bachelor. You can only give a rose to one of them. You only pick
those.
One. Yes.
Man, the fanboy B wants Julian Araujo, but that's not an intelligent decision. That's an intelligent decision. The intelligent decision is one of the two strikers, because literally, if we lose both, we may be screwed.
Well, so then. And I think you've already staked your ground here.
No, I have not. I said if I was going to play in the game right now, I would take Akinola.
Okay, but you think DK might have the higher ceiling?
Because here's the thing. DK for me is the one to take if I had to choose between the two, and here's the reason why. Who are the two players that will be playing on either side of him?
In this particular game?
No. If we're talking long term, right? So if you're bringing us forward for the next generation, who are the two players that in the 4-3-3 with him up for top?
Christian Pulisic, and are you thinking Jordan Morris on the other side, or are you thinking
Gio Reyna?
Okay, no, I'm just checking where you. Okay, Gio.
So, out of Akinola or DK, whose skill set makes those two players more dangerous?
Probably DK, because
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. That's what I'm saying, and that's why I would take DK over to Akinola. If I wanted to win tomorrow, I would take Akinola. But I think long term, DK has that physical presence is such a hard thing to supplement for. Yeah, and he has feet too. His footwork.
So if I'm hearing this correctly, you would take Daryl DK over Josh Sargent. That's not a controversial statement, right?
I would take Zardes over Josh Sargent right now. Yeah. Zardes is scoring and assisting all over the place.
He is.
We're not even talking about him. If Zardes would be in this lineup right now in this 23-man roster, if he wasn't in the playoffs,
maybe. I mean, you do have an issue where if Morris was available, he's probably in here. That means I don't know.
But if you wanted me to pick your poison between DK and Zardes, then it gets tougher for me because one is producing now, but I would still take DK.
But yeah, I mean, again, the amount of time in front of him, the amount of potential growth for DK is really big.
The most informed strikers in list right now are Zardes, then Akinola, then DK, then Sargent.
If Daryl DK starts making decisions and gets on the ball and does what Gyasi Zardes did yesterday for Columbus in a game I did watch, I know Nashville got beat to set up Pedro Santos. If he makes that pass, because that pass is a Christian Pulisic pass, that pass is a arriving Weston McKennie pass, that pass is a Gio Reyna pass, I'm 100% here for that.
And this is the guy that's playing with Perea. Perea is really a wily midfielder that he has to be ready for the ball at his feet at any point playing with him.
Yeah. All right. We have done most of the show on the roster, which again feels good for us. There are other things we should talk about. We should note that the U.S. women's national team, in a rematch of the 2019 Women's World Cup final, knocked off the Netherlands 2-0. Goals from Rose Lavelle and a goal from Christy Mewis, who I think went like 7 years between appearances for the national team, 7 years between goals, something like that. I mean, it's a great story for her to come back into the team and play with her sister
as a substitute as well. So she came in, made an impact, really good, really good stuff. But for me, the Rose Lavelle is kind of like, man, where's she been? Well, and it's not that she's necessarily not been good. We just haven't got a chance to see her because she's in the wastelands in Man City for some reason.
Is it wrong if I'm like that guy that that knows how to move bodies? Like maybe we send him to Manchester. I mean, I'm just saying. You
need a body moved.
I'm just saying that
body mover, body moving.
Somebody in Manchester who has wronged us. That's all I'm saying. Has kept Rose Lavelle down, and I'm just wondering if maybe, we can definitely do that. We can 100% get one of these. For Cincinnati's own Rose Lavelle.
That is a beautiful goal. Both driven and looping at the same time somehow. I don't know how that happens, but to the back post. You got to wonder if she's capable of that. Is she not performing in training for Man City? Does the coach have something against her style of play? You brought her in as a marquee player, right?
This is my initial thought. And look, I'm not actually, no, you know what? I'm not going to go down this road because I don't want to pretend to analyze Manchester City women's team when I don't know enough about them. But it just feels like, hey, here's an English dude running an English team with an English mentality. And he's like, well, look at Rose Lavelle. And she's
don't forget, Man City has more English national team players on their roster than any other women's league team in England. The spots are not easy to come by on Man City, unlike pretty much any other. Chelsea, Arsenal are also the kind of same way, but Man City has more than anyone else. It's a tough squad to break into, but it's Rose Lavelle.
I just wonder if it's a physicality thing, which is unfair to Rose because I don't think she has a problem with that. But she doesn't look like she's not Sam Mewis, right? Sam Mewis is a beast out there.
I'll say this: certain coaches have problem with players like Rose Lavelle. Players like Rose Lavelle, when they get the ball, they do things that are unpredictable and individualistic, which a lot of coaches want. But I think some coaches prefer a player that they always know what pass they're going to make so they can work around it and the players know what to anticipate. And Rose Lavelle's not that person.
Yeah, I think this is, again, I think we're going to have to take up this issue. What are we doing? On a national basis, the fight for Rose Lavelle to get playing time at Manchester City, and it would make those games more interesting for me when I'm flipping.
And listen, this was against Holland, the World Cup final rematch. I mean, there's no slouch that they're playing against.
Michael Adanovsky he's got them humming. I don't know how.
And yet, in the what was it? The top 10 women footballers that just came out. It was the top 10 Women's Player of the Year. Not a single American in it. 0
Americans in the FIFA team.
Not even Sam Mewis.
I don't know. Or Lindsey Horan, who I think is that's Sam Mewis, Lindsey Horan. It's pretty remarkable. All right. So the U.S. women rolling and looking good. And Alex Morgan also note that she came back and played in that game after returning, and she's finally playing for Tottenham. So something to talk about there. MLS Cup playoffs, Jared. Again, I've spaced on what happened last night. They've spread this thing out. There are COVID positives all over the place.
It's further getting spread out, too, because they've just moved the Kansas City game as well.
They did. They moved the Kansas City game from Wednesday to Thursday, if I have that right, because they can put it on Fox. That's why they did that.
And I think it's a smart decision. There's no fans are going to be pissed off, right?
Sure. I think since last time we met, obviously
Minnesota's not going to have fans in their stadium, right?
I don't know.
I don't know that Minnesota's having fans. I'm not positive on that one. I don't think they are.
I think that's right. So again, since last time we met, which was way back on, we did a Monday show last week too, right?
Yeah.
So that was 7 days ago, the 23rd of November. Since we last met, like a lot of things have happened.
Nashville took out Toronto.
I didn't see that one coming. And
I like Nashville. No, I like Nashville. I didn't know if I liked them that much, though. I mean, I think you had Toronto and Seattle again in the finals, didn't you? I did.
Yeah, because I'm a smart guy. I'm an intelligent person who does soccer radio for a living. Yeah. Yeah.
We just got a confirmation in the chat that no fans will be in Minnesota. So why not move the game if you can move the game one day and get it on Fox? The league is in like they're in DEFCON what would we say high numbers DEFCON 3. They're tourniqueting the season. They're trying to make as much money as they can down the stretch because they're trying to keep the league alive. To be honest with you, like there's no attendance. The MLS, unlike other leagues, actually relies on attendance. So this is big. If you get Fox and you get national broadcast, go for it.
I guess so. So Toronto falling to Nashville falling to Columbus last night, as we mentioned. The Revolution. Jared, I said this on Twitter. Now with Columbus and the Revs in the conference final in the East, this is old school MLS. This feels like we should be bringing back Frankie.
I remember last Monday when I talked to you about this, I said, I know it's Philadelphia, but do you bet against playoff Bruce?
I know, and I doubted playoff Bruce, and I was wrong. And I had somebody say after they beat Philly and after they beat Orlando, and we're up 2-0 in that game in the first half hour, whatever it was, and Junior Urso scored and made it a little bit tighter. But I said on Twitter, like, this is why Bruce Arena is the greatest MLS coach in MLS history. And I had somebody come back and say, oh, this is just Orlando playing like crap. And I said, well, what a coincidence that Philadelphia and Orlando both played like crap.
And what a coincidence that he was able to win 6 championships?
5. He's at 5. Do you think
4 with LA?
Do you think he has a
3 with LA? Sorry,
a legitimate case? I mean, a little bit chance. Like again, they get Gustavo Bo, Carlos Hill, Bouchard's playing pretty well. They got.
When the thing is when Gil and Bo are both on the field and healthy, it's a different Revs team than one of them isn't. I don't think they're deep. I really don't think they're deep. So unlike when Seattle or someone like that, listen, I think that compliment is almost as good as Ladero and Rui Diaz-Arce, but not quite.
Wait, hold on. What? Who did you just go with? Rui Diaz-Arce. Are you changing his name?
Rui Diaz. God dang it. Why do you keep having like flashback? I did Claudio Reyna. Now I'm doing Raul Diaz-Arce.
But I
almost said Rui Diaz sounds so much like Raul Diaz. You can tell I'm a 96er. I'm losing my brain at this point.
Jonathan Taylor Tannenwald. I'm in for it though. That's a natural Jonathan Taylor Tannenwald instead of
but I think Ladero and Diaz-Arce, Rui Diaz. God dang it. Rui Diaz are the best 1-2 combination in MLS right now.
Yes.
I think it's a good ways after that. If they're both on to the best. But I think Gil and Bo are not too far behind it.
As a trio, Seattle is well beyond everybody else.
Put Morrison there as well, yes.
Yeah, right. But New England is getting it done with those two guys up top. And Bo with the 2 goals against Orlando and Carlos Hill being as influential as he was. Now, obviously, we are doing this ahead of those games this week with Sporting in Minnesota.
I also want to throw one thing out there before we leave the New England thing. Henry Kessler has potential to be something. I mean, he may have been called into this national team if the New England was out. That guy has been very impressive me down the stretch. Only 22 years old. I think he has potential to be a player for potentially the Olympics or something like that next summer.
3 years in college. Jared, you were just hating on that.
Defenders, it's okay. I think that's what I'm coming down to. Defenders, it's okay.
So you're okay with Henry Kessler like incubating in college and being 22 when his first season rather than, I mean, we talked about this like, hey, we should be starting them younger. I mean, we are now. We're doing that. America's finally doing it. You and I were banging the drum about that 10 years ago. Here we are, 17-year-olds getting time, 17-year-olds playing in Europe. Henry Kessler's 22. He's 5 years behind everybody else.
I'm not telling you to put him on the World Cup qualifying team. I'm just saying he has potential for the Olympics, and I think he looks really good out there as a 20-year-old player. What is he? Is this his first year? First year out of
he's a rookie out of Virginia. Yeah,
and he's playing. And he's playing with Farrell next to him as a center back.
Yeah. Andrew Farrell's not okay. He's good. He's a decent player. He's not. I don't think he's
like right back for all of his career though.
Yeah, and by the way, University of Virginia. Responsible for both Daryl DK and Henry Kessler. So that should be.
And Bruce Arena.
Well, that too. And Claudio Arena, who you mentioned like several times on the show. All right. Western Conference. We mentioned that Sporting Minnesota game that's set for Thursday. FC Dallas and Seattle is tomorrow night. I give FC Dallas a chance in this game. I think Seattle wins the match, but I think Dallas showed something against Portland, Jared.
I kind of just want to see Seattle go out, man. I'm ready for a non-Seattle, non-Toronto champion. I just am. I'm ready for some new blood. I want to see something different.
This is from the guy whose team, what?
But unfortunately,
you won 2 and 3 years, whatever, 3 and 4 years.
I need stars.
Read between the lines. Do you think I want anyone You don't think I want anyone treading on my territory?
You know what? If Seattle won this year, I think not in terms of pure numbers, obviously, but they would. I think they might pass. I don't know. Probably not. They're probably right there with the Galaxy in that dynasty under Bruce. Right, neck and neck, because that's a remarkable thing to do, to win 3 and 4 years.
Yeah, it really is. But I'm ready for something different. To be honest with you, out of the teams that are left, I think it's gonna be Columbus, New England.
Okay, that's that. Wait, Columbus, New England is the Eastern Conference Final. What are you talking?
Columbus or New England is to be at the end.
Okay,
the winner. I'm saying I would for MLS Cup.
Oh, okay. You're saying the winner comes out of the East, whoever wins that match.
I think so. I listen. I don't know that I would just prefer that. I think those two teams. I would like to see either of those two teams. I don't know. I'm just not attached or even as a neutral to any of these other ones.
By the way, for Sporting Kansas City against Minnesota on Thursday, Alan Pulido is available according to Peter Vermees. And by the way, Peter Vermees also playing the We're the Underdogs card, which is just bonkers. Come on, guys. And Kadrian Heath is going to play. No, we're the underdogs. You're the under. Oh, no, who's the underdog? Nuts. Okay, like this, guys, chill. It's fine. You're both good teams. It's going to be a battle.
Yeah, I think that out of the 3 games playing this week, that's going to be the most fun one. I think that one has potential to be the most fun.
It should be good. By the way, FC Dallas pushed Seattle to the edge last year in the first round of the playoffs. Made it tough for them up in Seattle.
Yeah.
They have a chance to do it again, and there won't be 40,000 people in the stands in Seattle, so it's worth mentioning.
Yeah,
all
so
right.
I'm interested to see what those shake out, but I still think the winner comes out of the East, even with it being New England and Columbus. I love the way Bruce Arena has his team playing, and I think Columbus has the most swagger of any team left. Maybe Seattle. Man, Seattle, that breakaway goal, the way Rui Diaz looked on those breakaways and Ladero, the way those two work together, it's just – I don't understand how the rest of the team works in this championship level, but those 3 you're in every game that they're in.
They've got good players. I mean, Christian Roldan is an above average MLS midfielder. You have Gustav Svensson is excellent in my mind. I mean, defensively at the back, you might have some questions.
That's the place that's weird for me.
Arriaga, okay.
But if you're scoring 3 goals, I guess you don't have to worry about it too much.
No, you don't. All right, I think that's everything. I mean, probably missed some stuff. We missed some stuff about stadiums and expansion teams. I don't know. They're new expansion teams we don't know about yet. Probably we missed more rumors. Brian Reynolds to Juve. There's probably something else out there we're not talking about. Chicago Fire doing their logo again.
Thank God. Thank God they had the humility, and second, the ability to make the decision to do that over again.
What's the best analogy for that? I mean, there's like
Crystal Pepsi.
That's pretty good. Okay, that's pretty good. New Coke would be for Crystal Pepsi.
Yeah, New Coke as well. Like it's like we're gonna do this. Oh wait! I'll take it back.
We'll see what the Fire do. Should be better than what they have now, and maybe they'll be good. And then Jim Belushi can root for them, support them. Maybe
we didn't talk Americans abroad at all, but there wasn't too much to cover this weekend, to be honest with you.
It came back, and
Richie Ledesma got his first start for PSV.
Conrad scored a goal for Barcelona B.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Serginho Dest played, and Lionel Messi honored Maradona. And I don't know. Gio was not
an assist. No, he had assist. He came in at the end and had assist for Holland.
Okay. So there are some things. We're going to get back into the swing of things, but there's a.
Oh, I didn't see it. I know Fulham was up 2-0 on Arsenal. Was Anthony Robinson playing in that one?
Was it Arsenal?
It was Leicester.
It was Leicester.
Leicester. Excuse me. It was Leicester.
And they won, and Robinson played.
Nice. Good for him, dude.
Big point.
The kid's getting minutes.
3 important.
He's still got to have to look better in the national team than he did that one look, though.
He's got to be better than a giraffe on ice. Just a little bit better.
He has to be better at left back than Reggie Cannon is at right back. And I just don't know if that's going to be happening anytime soon.
That's a good one. That's a good point. Reggie Cannon played too. Anyway. All right. This is where we remind you that we have a Patreon page. It's patreon.com/thebestsoccershow. Super easy to find. Extra show every week for you. Also, we are committing to doing some extras for our listeners, including Zoom hangouts. What else? What else are we working on?
I have the idea, more it's not for sure just yet, about doing a pregame for U.S. national team shows, but just for Patreon members.
Ooh, special access for the pregame. Postgame will make available for
That's for everybody.
But yeah, that's for the riffraff.
The foreplay, that's for you special ones.
You get our full effort, right? Yeah, we're gonna do the work. Yeah. So check out the Patreon at patreon.com/thebestsoccershow. What else? I'm missing. Follow us on social media, all that stuff.
Yeah, if you're ever wondering, like, ooh, what? I thought they're gonna be on Sunday and they're on Monday instead. Ask yourself: are you following us on Twitter? Are you following us on Instagram?
Are you subscribed to the YouTube page, the YouTube channel at the Best Soccer Show on YouTube? Because if you subscribe, you get notifications when we're about to go live. We'll set up the.
And you can participate in the chat.
Absolutely. Look at all these incredible people in the chat. Don Fredo 9, Freddie Alarcon. I don't know how to say your name. Steve Hidalgo. All those people. Nikki Soup and Sausage in there, man in the stuff.
I love this one though. Ken the King arrives.
Yeah, that Ken the King. All right.
One thing you did forget, Jason.
What did I forget, Nikki Soup and Sausage? Hold on.
Apple.
Wait.
Oh.
You're here now.
The Sausage King of Chicago.
No, Toledo. Go ahead.
Apple Podcast reviews.
Oh, yes.
I'm going to make it a point to read some of the good ones at the end of the show each week now.
Oh, Nick producing over here.
This one is from Jersey Guatemalan.
Ooh.
He says, years ago when I got into soccer, I looked for a podcast after World Soccer Daily kept changing hosts. I heard many different ones, and once I heard the back and forth between them, I couldn't stop listening. Was so upset when it was done, but continued to listen to JD on Sirius. I was excited to hear when JD and the Rod were back together and became a regular listener again. Love the show format, and they have such great discussions. I still make my Roti Ritas every summer and can't wait to hear them talk about the U.S. national team.
Yeah, we got to get the Roti Ritas recipe.
You know what I'll do? That's a Patreon. Maybe I'll make a video of making one for the Patreon.
You should definitely do that. You can put it on our Instagram. Follow the Best Soccer Show on Instagram, and maybe we'll do that. Also,
I'll have my wife shoot it.
T-shirts with the recipe. Just flat out recipe on a T-shirt. The Roti Rita. That's what we need. That's why we love
coasters with the recipe.
The man smoked his turkey.
I did smoke a turkey.
You smoked your turkey, right?
I did smoke my turkey. I smoked it well.
Mofongo in my turkey. Stuffed mofongo.
I made turkey stock from scratch, and I made gravy from that. Oh my Lord, I was on point all over this day.
You killed it. That's great. All right, we're gonna get out of here. Thank you very much for listening. We will talk to you guys next week. Bye.
I wouldn't be caught dead in a sweater vest.
You've got to coordinate.
Danger zone!
The horror show.
What are we doing?
Eddie, what have you done for me lately? Who asked those questions?
To feel respect for the dead man.
Danger zone!
Get out of here! Please,